10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You're on mute. I can hear you.
Hello, hello, hello. I can't hear you, by the way. No. Yeah. Hello. How are we all doing? I'm not sure if anybody can see us here or not. Can anybody see us or hear us?
Better?
That's better.
What the hell is going on with technology, man? I do not get it.
You know what it is? I left and come back in because I was like, something's going on. Something's going on with my end. I can't hear.
It's like literally, it's on green, right? I've got the mute button unmuted. I don't know what is going on. Honestly, technology, you just cannot win. Honestly.
I can hear you now.
But it was me. For some reason, my technology decided to not work, which is just typical, isn't it? It's a good way to end. It's a Tuesday today, Monday, to end a Monday. You missed all my jokes as well at the start. I'm absolutely devastated.
I know you were probably wondering why you weren't getting any laughs, weren't you?
I'm thinking, what the hell's going on? Yeah, I think I've just pissed off Liam for what I've just said. He's just literally stone-faced in the background. I was literally, Liam's took a leaf out of Ian's book and Gary's book, hasn't paid his electric bill. He needs to get back on TikTok with his wife and earn some cash.
Yep.
So too cold. Put the heat on.
So it
Have a
costs
cup
too
of
much
tea.
money to put the heating on. Man.
It does cost too much.
This is true. This is true. I like it. Everyone's like, no sound, no sound. Even lads and lasses, no sound still. Caitlin and Nick's in the house as well. Who else is in the house? Emily's in the house. Great to see you. Absolutely devastated that's happened, but that's just technology. It just always happens to me. Right. Let's get right into it, guys, because that was a weird 4-3 yesterday. Very, very strange. We'll talk about the action. We'll talk about the lineup because we don't want to go into it too much. But our group chat went off it when Tonali was on the bench. Everyone was like, "Oh, that midfield's going to get smashed." What did you make of the decision, Liam, to leave Tonali out potentially because of a hamstring strain? But he was good enough to be on the bench. So were you a bit surprised to not see him maybe start for 45 minutes and then come off and do it that way?
Yeah, I was absolutely shocked to see him not in the lineup. Totally. But then again, look, I think we have got bigger games coming up, so I'll understand if he has took a knock or a tweak why he wasn't playing. But like you say, if he was on the bench, then surely he was fit enough to play. Yeah, I think we missed him.
Well, with certainly, we'll go into that in a bit. Gary, your thoughts on the Tonali situation? Would you have started him for the first 45 and then took him off? That's what we normally do with players, rather than unsettling that whole midfield.
It's a funny one for me because if he's got a hamstring with the final coming up, there's no way I would have risked him. Absolutely not. But if he's fit enough to be on the bench, then I found it strange that maybe he wasn't starting. But I think probably in Eddie's mind he was thinking the game will be close, tight, or we'll do something and maybe I can bring Tonali on late in the second half or something like that. But I wasn't like overly disappointed that he wasn't starting. I'll be the first to admit I was unsure about the three starting yesterday. And this is just basically going off what I've seen this season, and that was it. I had no problem with Lewis Miley coming in. It's just I wasn't sure about Willock being in there, and I was even thinking maybe Longstaff should have came in. I don't really rate Longstaff, but it would have just added a bit more oomph and fight in the middle and protection. But I'm not Eddie Howe, so I wasn't overly shocked when I heard Tonali was potentially missing and then he didn't start. So, but just weird how he done the bench. I just find that fun.
I tell you what it does, though. It gives Miley a shot of confidence, doesn't it? Saying, we're happy for you to start and we've got no worries about that. So that's what I thought of it. And Willock, everyone's getting on the back of Willock a little bit, and I think it's unfair because he's been injured for so long. It's now he's getting a run of games. He's now shown the Willock that he used to be again, and he did that last time. It took a little while for him to get going. The problem we've got is keeping him going, and it's stopping him from getting injured again. So that's going to be the interesting side of things. But the game didn't start that badly for us until that throw-in. I mean, what the hell was Murphy doing? When that ball got thrown into him, why was he trying to play a blind pass back to the thrower? It was crazy. You play the way, I always got taught in school, you play the way you're facing because you know where the danger is, you know where the man is that you're passing it to. That kind of blind pass always gets you into trouble.
Do you know what it is? I'm going to go through it here, but it'll be like 20 seconds going through it. Tino threw to the wrong person, right? Shaw come over as you see the goal. Murphy did the most ridiculous clearance. They went forward. Dan Burn didn't come to him. Shaw was miles away and suddenly running from the right-hand side. And Nick Pope was standing at the fucking corner flag. And it was that's what happened in that game.
Yeah, well, let's talk about Nick Pope's positioning because a lot of people said he was standing where he was because Dan Burn was in the way and he found it difficult to see the ball. But for me, the lad was still 30 yards out.
Yeah, it was
I don't
ridiculous.
care. I don't care where Dan Burn is. As a goalkeeper, you protect the middle of your goal, don't you? Because if he's going to try and bend
100%.
it either side of him, you're going to cover both corners. It just seemed it was such a comical goal, wasn't it? Great, good finish. I mean, that's not fair. Hudson-Odoi did so well because he saw the danger and he saw the massive gap, and he didn't smash it. He didn't put his foot through it. He just guided it perfectly in the corner, didn't he?
Because he saw the goalkeeper was on the left-hand side of the goal.
It was his first start for like over a couple of months as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
It was. Do you know what it is? It was like he was lining up for a free kick with a one-man wall. That's what it was like. It was. But what Shard clearly went to get the throw-in, and Tino decided to give it to Murphy, who had a couple of people around him.
I don't mind him giving it to Murphy if Murphy goes the same way and goes to the other side of the pitch. But for him to try and turn and play that blind pass, that was the stupidest idea he's ever had. Yeah. He should have just carried on going in the way. Yes, he might have got maybe knocked off the ball, but at least we would have been in a better shape. You know, he could have passed the ball back to Dan Burn. He could have played it out to Lewis Hall on the left-hand side. Why did he decide to try and play a blind pass is what I don't understand. It was
definitely up there with one of the most comical goals we've let in this season. It was, I mean, it wasn't even League Two standard. It was that bad. It was horrendous. Not even, you don't even see that very often. It was a comical bunch of errors.
You see it in lower leagues, don't you? Those kind of mistakes.
Yeah, I saw more control from your game a few weeks ago. It was really crap like that happening.
I love it. Leeds, by the way, have just had a goal line clearance. Unbelievable stuff. Sheffield United should be 1-0 up. It was brilliant goal line clearance. Pope has been standing to his right and leaving 2-3 of the goal exposed a bit since his injury. And fighting shots on his good side, maybe. It's a good point, but if he's still got a bad shoulder, he shouldn't be starting.
He's that whole game. He was not on it. He looks nervous. He looks so nervous when the ball comes towards him. He makes me nervous.
I think he makes Dan Burn nervous now, to be honest, because Burn looked like nervous at times in that game, and I don't know. At
least two of them goals were his positioning.
Yeah.
Do you know what it is?
We've said that Dubravka brings confidence back to the back line because they know he's potentially he can bring the ball and have it at his feet and not make mistakes.
I mean, I feel like I'm piling on Pope here. I mean, Pope is still a good goalkeeper. I mean,
he still had a decent game. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't dreadful, but I mean, that first goal just.
I don't know. I just deserves the start over him at the minute.
Oh, I 100% agree with you. To be honest, he's got his good strengths over Dubravka, but the whole team looks more comfortable when Dubravka plays. I think, Dubravka's going to make mistakes. He is not our goalkeeper going into next season. There's absolutely no doubt. But the team just looks more comfortable with Dubravka. Yeah. And I don't know. It's just like Burn was going back to his old ways for me. I mean, yesterday at times. Is it because he went in goal? I don't know. But I don't know. He went down. Yeah. When he went down to save it, he went down like stepped onto his son and all. It was just like he went down, like he was in slow motion.
He was never getting it, to be fair.
Sheffield United. Definitely United have scored.
He pushes it back into play rather than save it, and I'm like, come on, you've got to see, like you could save them types of shots. Mm-hmm. Fair enough when they're coming at him top corner, you just want to get fingertips on it in a way, but when they're coming down the centre of the goal towards him, he should be catching them. I'm telling you now, look, I could be being harsh on him here, but Allison, Edison, Martinez, do not let that goal in. Absolutely no chance. They saved that. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I don't think they'll be in that
they wouldn't be in that position. No, there'd probably be a nice, comfortable two-handed save down the bottom. That's what it would be. And it's, do you know what it is? I think even Little Arms saves that. I think Pickford saved that.
Oh,
Honestly, I
don't
do.
bring him into this. Oh, nah,
It's,
nah.
I just think it was like, I mean, I just think it was a comical goal. Like, Pope wasn't the only one. It was a disaster from the minute the throw-in came in.
Well,
And
exactly. Like I said,
do you know what it is? The amount of times, right, I see something, we get a throw-in, I look down just to compose myself, I pick my coffee up, and then when I look, they're on the attack. It's happened time and again this season where we're barrels of throwing up. We've done it all season. I don't know how we manage it. And it's anyway, crap goal.
Crap goal to give away, 1-0 down, but what an absolute response. And even before we scored, we had two massive opportunities, which was really frustrating because the poor end quality from the right-hand side was all for everyone to see. I think the first one was Murphy when he had a chance to bend a cross in and he just smashed it across and overhit it. But the biggest one was when Tino got himself in down the right-hand side and all he had to do was put it in the corridor and he fails to find a man. I mean, we could have been 2-1 up before we even equalised.
Kieran Trippier's in the back of the net. If it's Kieran Trippier's in the back of the net. And look, I'm still backing Tino Livramento all the way. But that kid has got to sort his end product out.
Yeah.
Seriously, 100%. He's got to. It's not good enough. If he wants to play for England now, it's not good enough. Thomas Tuchel will not play him with that final ball quality. I'm still backing him. But you compare him to Lewis Hall at the minute. Him and Lewis Hall are on a different planet for me.
Yeah, they are.
And it's like, he's Ari to the back, but you're right, that ball for me, even the commentator said it, what's he hitting it that hard for? Yeah. And it's like, in Gordon, Gordon's one of the quickest players in the world, and he couldn't get to it. And it's like, it was just like, you're right, it was
just played perfectly. Gordon just would have ran on and tapped into an open net, wouldn't he?
But we started well, like you said. It was just the final pass or final shot was just poor. Late before their goal, it was just like, apart from that, everything was fine. I thought we started well.
Our first goal again was pretty comical in a way, because when that ball goes to the back post and Bruno's 4 yards out, and I'm thinking, I understand why he's headed it back across goal, but surely he should be scoring himself. I mean, I would have just powered that header in as hard as I could. You know, the keeper's not going to save it from that distance. But we recycled the ball really well, which was something.
The free kick was a mess, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah. But we recycled it really well, and the ball played was perfect into Miley. Touches it with his right foot, laid it off onto his left, and he smashed it through the defender's legs into the corner. Now that to me was a goal of a midfielder who's been playing all season. It was that good of a goal. He was so composed, wasn't he, Liam?
Delighted for him, absolutely delighted for him. First Premier League start this year, and he goes out and smashes that in the back of the net. And he was, for me, that he obviously played in the game against. He came in on the Birmingham game as well and was absolutely outstanding. Am I right? Yeah. There's a few games he's came in it and he's just shone. Even the Man City game, he's shone in that as well. You know, so for me, he deserves a start.
Yeah. It's going to be difficult when everyone's back fit again, but he's knocking on the door, isn't he, Gary? Because he's only 18. He's got so many
exactly what he needs to do and proving himself.
Exactly.
That, I tell you what, does anybody else in our midfield score that goal? Bruno Joe Linton.
Tonali would, I think.
Possibly.
He's shown his class and his finishing, especially against Brentford in the Cup.
His first, he knew exactly what he was doing. Even the commentator said it. His touch was brilliant. His finish was superb. And you know what it is? I think we are going to save a lot of money on a midfielder because this boy has some talent. And
100%.
I think he could be the best talent we've seen for a long, long time at all. Through our youth system, you name it. And I think when Eddie Howe said we're not having another PSR situation because he knows Lewis Miley's going to run his midfield as long as he's manager. And you know what is, I've saw, like, don't know what anybody else thinks, but, and I'm not on about prime here, like legend of a game, but I've saw similarities to Steven Gerrard at 18 in him. When you watch Gerrard play at 18, the two of them look the same. They're built the same. They're both feet. Not the quickest, but they've got that stride on them where they can go past somebody. And he's definitely a talent. And I mean, the composure to do that when you're getting beat 1-0, you're coming off the back of a really poor performance, and he does that. It was impressive. And it's just quality. I mean, nobody can do that if you haven't got quality and class finish.
I mean, if he can have half of a career that Gerrard did, we'll be winning trophies, and he'll be having an excellent career because Gerrard was just phenomenal, wasn't he? As much as I hate the Scouts twat. But that was the start of a crazy 11 minutes. I mean, the second goal, even though it's a horrible, it's finished, but it was the best move of the game because the football we played to the ball ended up in the back of the net was absolutely superb down that left-hand side. And it all started with Lewis Hall, tucked in the left-hand corner. He played a lovely ball down the line to Gordon. Hall runs past him, and Gordon comes back, spins the ball in behind the defender, which was unbelievable. Finds Isak. Isak's got the awareness just to play a tiny little back heel to Lewis Hall's run. And then he dinks it to the back post, takes a bit of a deflection, and then 2 yards out, Murphy just kind of shags the ball in the net, doesn't he? That's probably the best way to describe it. He just thrusts himself at it, and it's in the back of the net. Even though it's like a horrible finish, it was an unbelievable move, wasn't it, Liam, from start to finish? Actually, it starts from Pope with a great throw out, and this is why I mean by Pope not being at his best, but also he was still all right in the game because he never did that in the past. He never looked for a quick throw out. So credit to him for that.
That is true. Yes, he had his bad moments, but again, I could see him quick on the ball, trying to release, trying to get people out quick. But yeah, he was good. And Murphy's goal when he, like you say, shagged it in the back of the net. That there was screaming handball, weren't there? And I'm stood watching it, and I'm up and down. I'm like, no, it can't have been. This needs to stand. But when you see
it hit his dick when it read it. It hit his dick.
He literally was trying to get his little wiener into the valve.
Well, whatever he got on it worked.
I'm shocked Lewis Hall didn't shoot because I was screaming shoot because he's got the ability to hit it, and it's like it was a lovely move. Isak was huge in that goal, like the build up when Isak laid it off and stuff like that. But Lewis, you know what is
brilliant.
Lewis Hall's engine on him is, do you know what it is? Him and Tonali could literally run all day, the pair of them. And it was just, it was a great move, scrappy finish. But the one thing I thought Newcastle did brilliant yesterday, when they went 1-0 down, they responded superb. Because the crowd, I wasn't in the ground, but I'm sensing the crowd would have went a bit agitated when that goal went in. And you would have sensed it in the air. But the way they come out, I mean, look, a lot of people have said that we struggle at certain periods when certain things happen. When we go down 1-0, sometimes it doesn't faze them because it's happened a lot this season and they've come back. And it's, but it was a lovely goal, lovely move. Sorry, not lovely goal, but lovely build-up.
Yeah, I mean, the build-up was absolutely superb. And again, all down our left-hand side, just the quality on our left-hand side. It's just polar opposite to the right-hand side, isn't it? But again, Murphy's really benefiting from that because as much as we want another right winger who's better on the ball, better at passing, Murphy gets himself into great positions because he knows that left-hand side is dominating. Players are attracted over there. He gets so much space and he can finish. He can actually finish. He stopped hitting the post and crossbar a lot now, and he's hitting the back of the net. So fair play to him. Right, Isak penalty. I had a lot of debates with people at work. You know, oh, it should never have been a handball, wasn't in a natural position. I was just like, if that was for your team, a lot of these are Leeds Man United fans, as you can imagine, and Liverpool fans. The guy's turned his back and he's jumped with his arm up out of his side. Yes, I understand you jump with your arms, but when you turn your back, that's the big key, isn't it? If you turn your back on the ball, you don't know what you're doing, so you're making yourself bigger, and that means if the ball strikes your arm, you're in trouble. So for me, it was a penalty. Do anyone disagree or agree?
For me, it was a penalty all day long. I mean, if, like you say, if it had been them with a shoe on the other foot, absolutely, they would have stood and said penalty. He jumped, he made himself bigger, his arm wasn't in a natural position. Rule book penalty.
Yeah, exactly. For me, it was. And then I did have it all sorted, but because I've gone out and come back in again, we have the goal. I'll tell you the one thing that really disappoints me about that video. Where the fuck were the limbs? Where were the limbs? Yay! Right. But I'll tell you what, the penalty itself was terrible. And I know Isak didn't mean to do what he did. He was trying to Panenka that, wasn't he?
He stumbled when he took it, I think.
Yeah. And he got too much on it. Luckily, he got too much on it. But that is the Matt Sells that we love and know from Newcastle.
Yeah. Well, he dropped the ball within the first 2 minutes, which led to a corner for us. And I looked and I'm going, yep, that's Matt Sells. And the penalty, Matt Sells written all over it. It must just be your ground where he's shit, because he was poor yesterday. But yeah, I mean, I remember when the penalty went in, I remember looking and I'm going, what the fucking hell happened there? And it's like, but it's Isak, isn't it? He just like,
he just doesn't care, does he?
No, and
he had enough power on it. He had enough power on it, didn't he?
Yeah. And can you guys remember as a kid playing sensible soccer? Is it Adidas sensible soccer? When you used to get the player used to power up, and then he got, like, when he shot the ball, the keeper saved it, he used to push them into the back of the net.
Yeah, it would have been the Commodore 64 Atari game years ago.
Yeah, I'm sure it was sensible soccer or something like that. It was a bit like when you played like a basketball game. If you got you got 3 in a row, the ball would go on fire and you're on a hot streak. The same thing with a football game. You literally power the ball that hard, it would push the keeper in the back of the net. And that's what it looked like by the end of it, didn't it? Because he was right in that goal at the end. I didn't think he was going to get back out of it.
It's tangled.
Well, you'd think Roberto Carlos had hit a flaming power shot, didn't you? The way he went into the net with it. It was honestly, but it summed that game up, because for me, Hudson-Odoi's finish was good, but all of the goals had comical errors in them. And it was, and Miley's finish was obviously good, but you had Bruno's comical header, and it was just Murphy, like you said, thrusting it in the back of the net, and then a ridiculous Panenka penalty and a bizarre save from the goalkeeper. It was one of those games. It just really was. You look at the score and you'd think, "Whoa, I bet you there was some quality in that game." But it was a weird frigging penalty. I tell you what, if he gets one of them at Wembley, you're not doing that.
If he misses it, I think we'll all ship him off for 150 million to Real Madrid or Barcelona if he does that.
Allison won't let that in.
No, definitely not. Sensible soccer level 7 it was. I knew it was something like that. I've got all the stats, don't worry, guys. Again, with our fourth goal as well. I mean, to be 4-1 up at half time was incredible, but to do it within 33 minutes after being 1-0 down is even better. And again, it was not the cleanest of strikes. It was a lovely move again down the left-hand side, quick breakaway. It's slid in by Willick. Willick, I thought, was fantastic on the left-hand side, by the way, when he went out there. He's definitely more a left winger than a midfield free for me, because
100%.
His running power is unbelievable, but he's not shifting Gordon out of the team. And then Barnes is there as well. But he did really well. Powered run, cut inside, slid it down the side to Isak. Left foot shot. I thought he did it. Do you remember when he did it against Villa when he dinked it over the keeper? I thought he did that, but it took a deflection and went in, which just sums up all the goals we scored. silly errors in them. But it flew in the back of the net, 4-1 up. I mean, Liam, that was potentially game over.
Well, it was. You wouldn't have thought we would be in a better position going in at halftime, would you?
No. I honestly was like, that first half was as good as us battering Spurs 5 was it 5-0 in 22 minutes. That first half of football, because we did it for the full 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I think with Spurs we did it within like 30 minutes, and then we kind of dropped off a little bit. But that
I
full
think we're in
45
shock against
minutes,
Spurs.
we were all over them. Yeah.
When the 5th goal went in, I think we're in shock when that's against Spurs, because obviously Spurs had Harry Kane up front at the time, and you're thinking, what the hell's going on? But it was another great build-up move. Willock in that first half, that was the first time I saw Champions League Willock. And it was...
It's in there. It's in there. He just needs time.
Look, nobody... You know what is? The one thing I'll say about Joe Willock is, right, whenever you see people complain about him, me too, I've complained about him this season at times. Everybody says the same thing. He's got talent. He's got talent. But he's just not doing it often enough. He's not doing this. But everybody comes out and says the kid has got talent. And he has. I'll say it. But it's doing it on a consistent basis. And yesterday, he was unplayable in that first half. And absolutely unplayable. And I agree with you. That he's not a midfielder for me. He's a winger. And I think his best position's a left wing. I think he causes chaos in that left wing. And but he's not shifting Gordon, is he? So, but
no. But this is where that Champions League Willock you're talking about, that season we qualified for the Champions League. He was in midfield free with Joe Linton, and they swapped their roles constantly. And that's a sort of relationship I would like to see him build with Gordon, if it's possible, because Gordon likes to come inside a lot as well. If them two can get that understanding that Joe Linton has with Willock, them two do it, then Joe Linton can see himself struggling getting back in the team.
Mm-hmm. It was. Do you know what it is? That first half. What shocked me about that first half was, I think all three will agree that Forest are a team full of pace, but we made them look slow, horrendously slow, and because our pace was just, they couldn't cope with it, and I was confused by half time because I didn't think we would beat Forest down to pace. But we did, and it was just. But I think you're right. I think inhibiting.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
We never let them get out. That was the thing. Even with the pace, where every time they tried to counter attack, there was always somebody there to break it up, and that was our worry, wasn't it? As a midfield three, you know, are we going to leave that big gap in behind? Which is where everyone said Bruno didn't have his best game. Bruno sacrificed himself, I thought, yesterday, and played a lot deeper, more consistently deeper than what he has done when he has played in that role previously. I think he's learned from his mistakes, you know, with those big gaps, because he knows he can't get back. But I mean, Lewis Hall was even better as well, because he didn't just hang out on the left-hand side. He came in to play a sort of 6 role every now and again when we didn't have the ball, to make sure that we weren't counter-attacked and, you know, there wasn't those spaces in behind. I just thought it was an absolute fantastic 45 minutes. It was just crazy. It really was.
It was not like I described it. Me thing. It was like you put an Energizer battery in the players at the first half, and then they came in at half time. You put a Panasonic in the second half. It was honestly, it was just.
It was like the world spiked at half time in the water, wasn't it? It was.
They've been in for a 3-course meal, I reckon.
Yeah. Much pasta.
It's like the first half, apart from that crappy goal we let in, it was blistering at times. And it wasn't perfect because it started well, but didn't final pass, whatever. But it was. You couldn't ask more for a first half. Honestly, you couldn't. You're 4-1 up against the team third in the league. Go in at half time, come out, get an early fifth, finish the game off, take some players off.
Well, we nearly
No.
did. We were close, weren't we? Because Shaw's
Sure.
header off the post was so unlucky because he guided it perfectly. There was no pace on the ball, so he had to, just sort of flick guide it, and it hit the post. And that was our only big chance in that second half. I tell you what frustrated me more in the second half. Not that there's a lot frustrated us, but we conceded from 2 corners. 175, 180, 190 corners we faced and only conceded 1 goal, and we conceded 2 inside 20 minutes. I thought that was very, very frustrating. And again,
that was the keeper.
Not for the last one, not for me. The first one, I'm trying to sort of remember. It was kind of like a little back heel, wasn't it?
Scuffle lad, but he was absolutely nowhere near it.
I've just twigged. I've just remembered there. I got shouted at to go upstairs, and when I come downstairs, it was 4-3. I didn't see the third goal. I've just remembered. I couldn't tell you what happened with the third goal. The second goal was shite. It was just like tap in on the edge of the box. I mean, like on the 6-yard box, or whatever it was, and it was just.
It was a clever finish. It was
Yeah, it was. But wait, did anybody ruin them, man?
Oh, I know, but this is what I mean
7
from
bloody
corners.
Newcastle players stand there. Not one of them are bloody marking them because they're half asleep. Because that's what happened. It's like they went in at half time and had a fucking nap and didn't wake up. It was bizarre, honestly.
I think we went in half time to high. Basically, we've got this, and it didn't. It come out a bit too relaxed. I think.
I heard somebody say on Twitter. I know. I heard somebody say on Twitter. I think they might have a point. I can't remember who it was, but they said that they think Newcastle went in at half time, thought they'd won the game, and thought, I'm not going to risk an injury in the second half for the final coming up.
I find that really, really weird, especially when you've still got 2 more games before the final. You can't be thinking like that.
I completely agree, but it's like when you think, I mean, look, there's no doubt in my mind, Eddie not playing Tonali yesterday, that's him thinking about the final. Because Tonali's on that pitch if we haven't got a final in a few weeks' time. And it's you kind of, they're definitely talking about it, and it'll be in the players' minds. They'll be going, I didn't want to miss the final.
But you can't just win the game and then because we've got a final with 2 more games to go. Because I mean, we're talking about Liverpool on Wednesday night, Brighton on Sunday. If you want to be trying to win a double, because we've got the FA Cup's not a bad shout either. You can't be doing stuff like that. But the third goal really angered me. I don't think Pope's got anything he can do about this one personally. The problem with the third goal is Harvey Barnes' absolute shocking front post header clearance because he gets no distance on it. It lands on almost the 18-yard box. When if you've got an Alan Shearer there, or Gordon does it for us, doesn't he? Murphy does it sometimes. They get, just get your fucking head on it and get it out as far as you can. And he just doesn't connect with it. That guy can't head a ball to save his life. And you shouldn't have him on a front post like that, especially at a stage of the game it was. And Ryan Yates falls to him. Pope's going to get nowhere near that, to be honest with you, mate. I don't think he's anywhere near the ball coming in either because of the front post header. Should have cleared it, and there should have been no danger. And that put it 4-3. And how lucky were we when they put the board up and it was only 3 minutes?
Oh, no.
I was so relieved. I went, what? 3 minutes? Shit. Something's gone our way for a change. Yeah, it's normally 7.
So, I'm forgetting his name, but their manager was not happy.
No, he wasn't. Sprito Nunez or what? I can't pronounce.
Didn't even shake any sound, did he?
No, apparently no, but we'll come to that. But what? I mean, Eddie made changes. Let's just bring John. John's made it. Hello, John. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm good. There's music on here, so I'll keep it in mute if I'm not talking. But hey, so we got Gary and we got
Liam.
It looks like Chris Wood's brother. I swear.
What about now?
Okay. It's Liam.
Nice
I
to meet you,
love
mate.
No, you had a really good look there.
I'll put it back on then.
Get the
Not
hat
that
back on.
Not that it's bad now. I mean, because look at me. Well, first of all, good to see you guys. I'll just be kind of in the background if you want to ask something, but keep on carrying on.
Cool. Thanks, John. It's great to have John there. Good evening, all late to the show, but I think you can't have the mentality going in the second half. Something needs to be done by the captain. It's an interesting thing to say because, right, we've all watched football for a very, very long time. Very, very long time, right? I've seen games where teams go in 3-4-0 up, come out, potentially lose a game, but also draw the game. And I don't think the manager sets the team out to come out and be defensive. I think it's a mindset of the players. I also got to give massive credit to Forest because those players never give up. They came out, even though they were 4-1 down, they thought, you know what, sod it, we're just going to try our best and have a go. And they did. And they put the craps up us, didn't they, really? Because especially when they got the first, the second goal, then the third goal, it was just a little bit too late. But how many times have we seen teams go in at half-time, be very comfortable, and then come out and then struggle in the next half? I mean, we did it against Spurs when we were 5-0 up. We drew the second half 1-1. We beat them 6-1. There's always a polar opposite. And I don't know why it happens or how you put your finger on it. But Arsenal did it at St James's Park. They were 4-0 up and drew 4-4. There's loads of other examples of games out there. I remember Spurs battering Man United in the first half 3-0 and getting tonked 5-3 in the second half. Football is very strange and it happens. And you can't put your finger on it because it's got to be down to the players and the thinking, let's just sit back, let's just defend our box because, we're a team that is capable of defending and winning 1-0 and all this sort of stuff. So they're probably thinking, we've just got to see this game out. And then, credit to Forest, they had a go and they came close. But is there anything you can put your finger on, Liam? Because I just think it's the history of football. This is what happens. Unless you're a Man City or a Liverpool and you know how they can cruise through games with the players they've got. We can't because we don't have those kind of players yet. But I just think that yesterday summed up football being football for me.
Yeah, I'm still struggling to work it out, to be honest. How we could I fully don't understand it myself. How we can go from that to that. It's in 15 minutes. It's crazy. Like I say, the only thing I can think is we've went in half time. We've got this in the bag. We seem to sit back a bit more, I thought. And it just allowed the game to open up for them. And then by that point, they'd already gone into the rhythm of the game. And then it was harder for us to sort of take control again. Yeah.
It was frustrating.
Yeah, it was. It worries us with the likes of Liverpool and that coming up. If we can play first half, brilliant. But second half, if we keep playing like that, I'm worried.
I don't see many teams putting in the same performance they put in the first half in the second half. I think it's very rare, especially when they go that far ahead in the game. If it was 2-1, I still think they would have been switched on a lot more than what they were when they came out, potentially. Would you agree, Gary?
Yeah, no. I'm not going to lie. I think Eddie made it too late to bring his subs on now. I thought...
17 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was... Isak hadn't touched the ball once till the 62nd minute. Now that come on Sky.
They put a stat up, it was 3 times inside his own half. He touched the ball. Nothing in the opposition half.
Nothing in the opposition half. So till the 63rd minute. And I'm screaming at Eddie to make subs because nothing was happening. And I didn't agree with these subs. I was fine with Tonali, but Eddie, can you stop bringing Harvey Barnes on and putting him on the right wing? Seriously, stop doing it. Because you've got a Sula now. Put a Sula on there. He'll be more useful than Harvey Barnes on the right wing, trust it. And I'm just sick of seeing Harvey Barnes on the right. He's been shit there ever since we've had him there. Apart from one game at Forest, I think he was decent at Forest. Maybe that's why I brought him on. I don't know. But
You got that bang on, in my opinion.
Tonali was
to be honest with you, right, the Asula thing kind of frustrates me a little bit because everyone sees the two performances he's had, but they were against Bromley and Birmingham League One teams.
Yeah, but he needs a chance. He needs a
Stronger, I think.
I agree with all that. I do agree he's stronger. I do agree he's young. He's raw. But would you throw him on in a Premier League game when it's that tight? Eddie Howe,
yeah, because we had an 18-year-old kid sitting in the middle of the park.
Yeah, but he came off as well, didn't he, for Tonali?
Yeah,
so.
But he's starting to get. I think Eddie's. Sometimes I don't think
Eddie trusts him. I don't think Eddie trusts him yet.
Oh, well, clearly he doesn't right now. But I thought Eddie wait. And you know what it is? Eddie made the subs when the second goal went in, and I was screaming for the subs before because I thought they're going to score here. You need to act now, and he didn't, and they scored. And oh God, I tell you what, I'm going to hell here because I'm bashing Eddie out. But it's
not bashing, but just constructive criticism.
Yeah, personally, I look, I don't care if it's Alan Shearer or whether it's Alexander Isak, Anthony Gordon. If I think something was wrong, I'll come out and say I think it was. I don't care who it is. I thought Eddie Howe made his subs too late yesterday, and I think he should have made them bloody earlier. And
60th minute for me because it looked like from that point on that we were struggling. But I still don't see this Asula. I mean, I hope it works out for him, but there's a reason why Eddie Howe's not throwing him on, and it's obviously because he doesn't trust him. So I trust Eddie Howe in that decision.
I get what you're saying. I mean, on paper, you know, Wilson should be on over him as a sub. I get that, I do, because his appearances to goals, But Asula, I think he just needs a good chance.
I think Wilson will always be ahead of him in the pecking order when he's fit. And let's face it, Wilson really, really frustrated me, by the way. Because when he came on, he had 2 chances to be a hero by assisting. Barnes, he could have played him in on the right-hand side one time. Then the worst one was when Anthony Gordon absolutely belted into the box and then he shot and ignored him. You know, that to me showed, just square it. Just pass it. And that to me shows the difference between Wilson and Isak, because Isak would have squared them.
Yeah,
100%.
And Wilson's too greedy. He's too much of an individual player sometimes. And that's why he's a goal scorer, though. You know, sometimes you've got to put your hands up and say, right, fair enough. But at that stage of the game, in the situation we're in, kill the game, square it. Just square it.
I'm sick of sugarcoating it with some of these players now. Wilson's finished. He's finished. And he should have been shipped out a year ago. And I'm telling you now, Asula doesn't balls that 2 chances up like he did. He might even have got a job on target. He would not. I'm telling you now, he would not.
He couldn't score from 2 yards out against Birmingham. He kicked the ball off the back of his own leg.
I'm telling you now, he would have skilled something. I'm not saying he would have scored, but he would have got something off. But I'm sick of sugarcoating it with some of these players. Wilson's done. Thank you, Callum. Thank you, Callum. You've been a great player for us. Fantastic. Brilliant. Got us through some really difficult times, but you should have left a year ago. And if you're right, then he's been sitting on his arse doing nothing for months because it's in his contract. So it's like, seriously, like, not for me. He should have done 10 times better. People were defending him in our group, and I'm thinking, how was he arrogant? And Gordon was screaming at him. And I said to somebody in our group, I would have flung my arms up in the air now. Honestly.
I would have nailed him in the dressing room as well.
No.
John, I'm going to bring John in here. John, what was the crowd like? What was the atmosphere like? Because some people were criticising it again.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good because, they scored first and they scored early. And I think the crowd tried to get everybody into it. And it paid off because, I mean, we didn't back away when we were down 1-0. And, we tied it up afterwards. And so I thought it was okay. I wasn't disappointed at all. I think we got all kind of a little antsy in the second half, and there was a lot going on right in front of where I was sitting, because first half we scored the goals, Gallagate end. Second half they were fighting to get goals, Gallagate end, and I don't remember checking to see how the crowd was doing because there was so much going on right in front of me, But yeah, I kind of agree with some of the things that Gary was just saying, because I like getting a substitution in there earlier than 70 minutes. And in this case, you could have done it one here, one there, one there, and it would have disrupted the momentum, and that would have been good. So for that reason, and I also agree with Liam that Liam and Gary, I believe that Osula, you got to give these young guys a chance. Look around the league, and there's young guys that get a chance. And I think he showed enough in his harassing the opponent all around the field. And if he gets a break, he's done some things with the ball. But I feel like sometimes maybe we're trying to get Callum ready to maybe we get more money for him or whatever. But I guess does contract expire this year?
Yep, this summer he'll be gone unless he signs an extension. But I can't see it.
Unless he signs something right now, like you can't give him too much time because he's just going to go off on his own anyway. I love the guy. I love what he's done, and I'll never talk bad about him. But yeah, you kind of wince when you saw what went on. It's like, oh, he doesn't get many chances because he doesn't get on the field now, so he's going to take these two on his own. That's how it felt. And I understand
greedy.
What Gordon was feeling.
That was the thing. He was greedy. He should have really squared it.
Yeah,
but you know what Shearer.
Way back when we needed him to be greedy, but now you got good players around you.
Yeah.
What Shearer doing in that? I know Shearer's a different level, right? But what Shearer doing when he gets that ball, that second chance that Callum Wilson had where he shot? What Shearer do?
Oh, he's squaring it.
He's squaring it, but if Gordon's not there, what's Shearer do? He's going straight for the corner, holding the ball up.
Oh, yeah, he's going to do the corner flag and see the game.
Do you know what it is? And he didn't do that. He tried again for glory. Yeah, he tried again for glory. And if that had been 30 seconds to go in the game, deflected, they gone up the pitch and getting another attack. Like I said, Shearer's gone to the corner flag to make sure Newcastle win that game. And it's honestly, I'm with you. I was screaming at him, especially the first one. Honestly.
I'll tell you one thing, though. I mean, I'm not massively pro Wilson because I think he's got to go, especially in the summer. But I still think he's got a big part to play this season because with Isak's injury record, he has the Premier League class announced to score his goals where I don't think Osula does. And that's why Wilson will be ahead of Osula. I'm not writing off Wilson this season until he gets injured again. While he's fit, you throw him on because he can score goals. Especially when you've got the likes of West Ham coming up. And how many goals has he scored against West Ham? Shitload. So I can see Wilson. Yeah, well, it could be, on the Monday night.
He'll not risk sack at West Ham 5 days before the cup final. Absolutely.
It'd be stupid. It'd be stupid to do that.
He'll be on the bench. Isak will be on the bench, but Isak will have a little niggly injury for that game. There's no doubt in my mind. And he'll be on the bench.
I love it. Right, there's a few things to go through quickly. Obviously, Isak has now reached 50 Premier League goals in 76 games after getting a brace yesterday. Obviously, Haaland was just something else when he first joined. But Isak's took his time to grow into the league, grow into the shirt, and he's been phenomenal for us. And still to do it in 76 games is very, very impressive. Especially with the injuries he's had to come back and get himself back into games as well. I thought this was brilliant. Sorry about the second half.
Oh, I didn't see that. That's class.
That's a good one. There's someone, obviously, I don't know who did it, but someone did it on Twitter. I just thought that's fucking brilliant, that. But they probably should have took the picture at half time because they thought the game was over then. What I'll go
Sorry,
back
I was going to say, was Sven Botman in there?
I don't. Gillespie's in there.
My eyes aren't that good.
No, you've got
No,
Shaw.
I kind of say I'm just like, because normally when the players are there, right, they're like, the injuries aren't too bad because obviously they're not going to, like, even making them wild, they'll tell them to sit in the hoose and relax. You put their feet up, you know what I mean? So it's like, just wondering if Botman's there, but I cannot see him.
I can't see him. Obviously, Shaw looks like he's been auditioning for the Wolverine part.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Eddie Howe, after the game, I'm trying to control my thoughts and stay positive. We won the game, and that is what we needed to do. I thought it was a great performance in the first half, and with everything we weren't at Manchester City, we didn't manage the game well, but overall, we are happy with the win. I mean, I still think Eddie Howe was very frustrated at the final whistle, and I know we won the game, but I still think he thought, we should have done a hell of a lot better in that second half. But a win's a win. It's nice to get one. After 2 defeats at St James's Park, to get back on the winning road is what we needed to do, especially when every single result went for us over the weekend.
Oh, but it's also psychological. If it depends on if you win from behind or if you win from being way ahead. And if we'd have won that game 4-3 at the end, it would have been great. But because we had a big lead, everybody's upset. Yeah, you get a big lead, it doesn't matter when you get it, it's still a win. So that's the way I felt. I was nervous, but we held on. I mean, we had to fight real hard just to get in their way, because they were on attack. So it's all good.
Yeah, my eyes weren't good enough to see that on my laptop, so I didn't see them either. Right. Lewis Hall, absolutely superb yesterday. Most tackles won, most crosses, most joint duels, joint chances created, player of the match. He was on another level yesterday. So he was definitely, I know he got man of the match on Sky. He's definitely my man of the match. But there was another player who can throw his name in the hat, as we mentioned, was Lewis Miley. He's only 18, scored 80% passing accuracy, 1 chance created, 4 touches in the opposition half from 58 touches, 2 interceptions and 6 defensive actions as well. And this stat's already been mentioned in the chat, but Lewis Miley is the first player to score more than 1 Premier League goal for Newcastle while aged 18 or under. So it just shows you we've never really trusted youth or had any decent youth. Who was your man of the match, Liam?
Head's got to say Hall, but heart says Miley.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna say it too.
Ooh, Gary.
First off, I had Lewis Hall. He was class. Lewis Miley. And Lewis Hall was class first off, but I think Lewis Miley was superb. Willock close. Second half, them two dropped off. Lewis Hall stayed as strong as he did in the first half. So I went Lewis Hall. I thought Hall was superb yesterday. And the amount of times he covered Dan Burn and helped Dan Burn out yesterday was incredible. And it just superb performance. Rocks. I think somebody got past him once and he recovered and got the ball back. Made about 3 tackles in the penalty box that he timed perfectly. And where I'm going, what you doing like that? And he's just taking the ball, no problem, because he's got full confidence in his ability. He was just fantastic, absolutely superb. And he set 3 goals up as well, wasn't it?
You mentioned Dan Burn. Dan Burn went on a few decent runs in the first half as well, didn't he? But what the hell's going on?
Yeah, I think we got a free kick in the second half where I think it was about 4-2, 4-3 or something like that. And Dan Burns up front for the free kick, and I'm thinking, what the hell are you doing? And it's like, but look, but Lewis Hall, superb, absolutely superb.
John, your man of the match?
Yeah, it was Lewis Hall for me. He looked like he had command, like Trips. I mean, like Trippier. He looked like he was a captain out there. He looked really good, and he was all over the place. He did everything we needed him to do. Yeah, loved him.
Yeah, his support on the left-hand side was crazy. I mean, he doesn't get the assist because it takes a deflection, but it was an assist for me. I hate that, it takes a slight deflection, will take the assist off you. The only reason why the ball's getting to the back post is because he was there to make that run and put the ball across. So very frustrating for him for that. This is another great stat. Newcastle won 18 points from losing positions in the Premier League this season, more than any other club. Now, that is something to be proud of, but it's also something to be disappointed about as well, because how many times do we want to go behind?
Even though we started, if you look at the first half, it was 4-1. We were very crisp. It wasn't like, that first goal was kind of, we should have had that. But typically when we start out really slow, we don't recover right away. And I think we recovered right away from that one and went ahead.
Yeah, we did. It was very quick recovery. But again, I mean, 18 points, that's a lot of points recovered from losing positions. You're talking like 5-6 games we're conceding the first goal in, which is not what you want to do. But, it's nice that we've got that bounce back ability these days.
Do you know that happened a lot under Robson, where we'd go 1-0 down and come back? And we had people like Bramble at the back. Sometimes. Yeah, we had people like Bramble and Andy O'Brien at the back. And I think that's part of the problem. I think we're defence. I think we're two centre-backs, especially Shaw for me this season. I just think I'm seeing a decline. And as harsh as that sounds on them, I am. We cannot go into next season with these two at the back. We cannot.
No, 100%.
And I think that's part of the reason why we're going down, and I think that's part of the big reason why we let 3 goals in yesterday. Is I think we're just looking very shaky at the back at times, and it's not our fullbacks, especially Lewis Hall. So we've just given Lewis Hall man of the match. So there's a reason why we're letting 3 goals in, and we're praised for midfielders in the first half.
2 from corners. That 2 from corners in one game is just crazy. That's not like us. Not like us at all.
And I think we all agree that our best performances in the last 10 games have involved Sven Botman at the back. When Sven Botman's played, Arsenal away, you name it. It's just like when Botman plays, we'll look 10 times better, 10 times stronger. And I just think there's no. I mean, if you need any more proof now that Eddie Howe's number 1 target in the summer was Mark Gahey, now we know why. Now we know why he wanted that centre back, and I've just saw a decline this season, and it's going to happen again. And what we need to do is we need the players to get out of it again, and because we are going to go behind a few times this season. But look, I mean, fair dues to them. They've got that when they want to. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but when they go down, sometimes they've got that will to come back into it, and they don't cower, they don't frighten like Man United do. Because when Man United can do, and apart from the weekend, they crumble. We don't crumble, and that's always a good thing. I mean, you've got to look at it as a positive. I know where you're coming from with a negative, but we've got that fight back about it, and that's a good thing. But anyway.
Damn right it is. Now, this is an elite club to be in. 1-0 down to 3 goals up at half-time in the Premier League. It's only happened 6 times now, which is crazy. I mean, well, to be fair, when you go 1-0 down, you don't expect to be 4-1 up at half-time, to be fair, but there you go. There's not many other teams who've done it. We've had it done against us, which is not very nice, but there we go. But that's a nice little club to be in. Just another little stat for you guys. Right. I thought this was funny. For all the moaning NUFC fans who just can't be satisfied, an interesting stat. Newcastle have won 13 of the last 16 games in all competitions. Since the first match of this run in December the 14th, it is the most wins by any Premier League side. Just have a think about that. And do you want to know why I like this and why someone said this? Is because how many times have I seen inconsistency being said? How can you be an inconsistent team if you've won 13 out of 16 games? That's not inconsistency. Inconsistencies, you win 1, you lose 2, you win 3, you draw 2, you win 1, you lose 1. That's inconsistency. Inconsistency is not winning 13 games out of the last 16. Liam, I can't even remember the last time we even had those kind of runs. Obviously, Champions League season, I guess.
No, I didn't realise that, to be honest. 13 of the last 16.
It's mental.
It's quite good when you look at it wrote down like that.
Yeah, exactly. This is the thing. People just think about the last couple of games rather than thinking about how long we've been on a good run for. Yeah. You know, yes, Fulham and Bournemouth was terrible, but the run is exceptional. Yes, John?
Yeah, well, the other part of that is that's the best that any Premier League team has done. That shows you that every team is having a little trouble here and there. Even the good teams, Liverpool, Arsenal, you know. Certainly Man United.
Exactly. So, I mean, how many times did we sit on these shows last year and said we would love to swap some of those draws for losses but more wins because you get more points that way, and that proves it. 13 wins and 3 losses is incredible, because inconsistency would be 8 wins, 4 draws, 3 losses, wouldn't it? Not 13 wins.
Hey, what it says is we're consistently competitive. Whether we win or not, hey, we dropped 3. Okay, no worries. That's still better than any Premier League team did.
Yeah, exactly. It's an incredible run. And again, I mean, is this the problem? Is social media the issue, or people trying to get views and clicks and thumbs up and things like that? Does it play into the narrative of that? If because Newcastle have lost, let's be one of those downers and get all them on our side and get the clicks. We will never do that, because it's not how it works.
I think it was worse years ago, but honestly, I do. I remember sitting in that ground, and I've said this on the show before, watching Sir Bobby Robson's team get booed off the pitch at the last game of the season when we finished 5th.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the expectations were a lot higher back then as well, weren't they? Yeah. Which is wrong. It's wrong.
And it's like, you know what is the one thing I will say about Newcastle this season is I think we've had a bit of an up and down season, right? Where I think we've been brilliant 1 minute and absolutely dreadful another. But it has happened to a lot of teams this season, and I think Liverpool are the only team that have been consistently good this season.
Oh, they've been excellent.
Oh, yeah. And for me, we have been up and down, but we're 5th in the league.
Exactly.
So that tells you that we're doing something right.
And we're in a cup final. We're in a fucking cup final.
Exactly.
We're still in the FA Cup.
If we become more consistent, or not consistent, like more like not putting in second half performances like yesterday, then in the next couple of years, maybe we will be challenging, because that's all we're missing right now. Obviously, we need to make some adjustments to the squad. Everybody knows that. But I think it's been a funny season. I think Villa have been up and down. I think Arsenal haven't come on like this.
That was going to happen. We all said Villa will struggle because of Champions League and not being able to strengthen the squad as much as they wanted to. It happened to us. It's happening to us again. 3 windows without a signing is the reason why we're up and down a little bit. But I hate this word inconsistent, because winning 13 games out of 16 is not inconsistency.
What's the word? What's the word you'd use? What's the word you'd use
for this season?
How would you describe this? Yeah, look, I'd say we've had a good season, right? We've had a good season, right? Now, because I went 6th at the start of the season, so we are 1 place ahead of where I thought we would, right?
I said 5th.
Yeah. Now, you're right. The reason we aren't a bit higher is because we've done nothing really in the transfer window, right? 100%. But what would you describe, or like because when we're bad, like horrendous. And that's what stands out for me, is when we're bad, we're literally terrible. Whereas when some teams are bad, get beat, they're not terrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway.
So basically what it is that it's that winning mentality, that when you play badly, you win games. That's what Liverpool can do. If Liverpool don't turn up, they can still find a way of winning games because they've got that extra class on the pitch that we don't have. They've got a Mo Salah, they've got a Szoboszlai, they've got a Diaz, they've got quality. Gakpo as well. It's just unbelievable season. They can afford to have an off day and still win a football game. Yeah. It's like the Man United back in the days. They knew how to win 1-0 when they needed to. Look at the game when we battered them at St James's Park and they beat us 1-0 with that Cantona goal. That's the level we need to be at. Yeah, you need to be able to win ugly. And we used to be able to do that. That Champions League season, we could win a game 1-0. We could tough a game out. We sort of went away from that this season. At the start of the season was where our problem was, is that we didn't hit the ground running. If we hit the ground running, then we would be a lot higher in the league than what we were.
I think we won the first half like champions. We won the second half. We lasted through the second half by winning ugly. We did win ugly, but there was a lot of hard work being done by our team because we
limped through that second half.
Yeah, well, I don't know. There was some good touches and good, kicks out of bounds and just to break it up. We fought them off. I mean, they were fighting tough. They were really fierce. That's the word.
Yeah, you've got to give credit to Forest, which we did earlier on the show. You might have missed that bit, John. The massive credit to Nottingham Forest for coming out in that second half and still giving it a go, because a lot of teams wouldn't have bothered at St James's Park. They would have fought 4-1 down, wounded animal, sod it.
Yeah, it was
the engine management light was on, but we're limped to the end.
Yeah.
I bet you Forest fans. I mean, I haven't heard it. I bet you Forest fans were very, very frustrated in that first half, because they didn't do. I mean, I've watched Forest a few times this season, home and away, and not once did they do anything in that first half like what they did were a couple of years ago. And I don't even think they really did it in the second half. I just think it was Newcastle were that bad. It's sitting off. I think I think Forest had a poor day. Even in the second half, I wasn't impressed. And I think you're right. I think they did well to not give up. But I remember there was a few Forest players that I had in the back of my mind thinking, would they be good in our team? And then after watching them yesterday, I've just went, not so sure now. But it's like it was a funny game, man. Honestly, it was a funny game. You'd think
I'll tell you,
game of the season, but it certainly wasn't.
Well, if you were a neutral, it was very entertaining for sure. It made for good TV, both halves.
Yes, it did. Like I say, polar opposites. I've seen it happen so many times in football, and that's why I won't criticise the players too much. And why we've got to be happy we won, because we still won the game. I've seen teams crumble under that kind of pressure and draw or even lose the game. So this is what's happened now. I mean, like I say, results went our way. That was a huge 6-pointer for us yesterday as well. And I think maybe that's I think that played on our minds a little bit in the second half. It's just like, Jesus, we're 3 points behind them now as well.
We need to get the cup final out of the way. I know that sounds bad, but we do. We need to get these few games out of the way, get to the cup final, try and win it, and then concentrate in the league so we haven't got this cup final in the back of our head. Because
we still need to pick up points in the next couple of games somehow.
Yeah.
Lose to Liverpool, beat West Ham, that would be perfect.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not going to lie. Look, I know this is a different thing. If we get anything from Liverpool, I'll show me arse off in Phoenix window, right? Yeah. But
I'd take a point now. If
West Ham, I'd take a point right now. West Ham, yeah, I think you're right. I think lose to Liverpool, make Liverpool think we're crap getting into the final. Oh, we'll hammer them lot, they're terrible. And then beat West Ham, then that'll make me happy. That'll have been a good 3 games, definitely. Leading up to the final.
Beat Brighton on Sunday as well.
Yeah.
Being the next round of the FA Cup would be nice. But I mean, looking at that league, Liam, why are people complaining after winning a game of football?
Well, I know. Yeah, absolutely. I think, like we've discussed before. It's because that first half was so good and the
Yeah.
second half wasn't, that people are obviously disappointed. But yeah, a win's a win. It's 3 points on the table, and look where, like you say, look where we are with 3 points off Forest, right on the same points as City. You know, we're still fighting.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you another reason why I expected a drop off on the second half. I remember watching Liverpool play Leicester City at Leicester City, and they were 3-0 up at half time, and everyone was like, "Oh, they're going to go on and score 6 and 7," because they were that good in the first half. They came out in the second half and it finished 0-0 in the second half because they just dropped off naturally because they knew the game was won. You know, do you know what I mean? And they weren't fantastic in that second half either. They didn't create that many chances. Look at them against Wolves as well. Liverpool were fantastic in the first half, came out in the second half, and could have drawn or lost that game to Wolves. So it happens to everyone.
I think the problem was in that second half for me was I expected a sit-off. I expected Forest to have a lot more of the ball. But Newcastle were that much asleep. Sleeping Beauty was more awake than them. It was...
You've been waiting to say that all night, haven't you?
We sat back off way too much. Like, I'm not going to lie. It was crazy how bad we were sitting off in the second half. I mean, I thought it was going to happen, but I didn't think it would happen like that. It was I don't
think any of us expected that. I expected to maybe draw the second half, or maybe win it 1-0, or maybe lose it by 1, but not in the manner that we did. But like I say, it happens.
Eddie Howe's interview after the game summed it up for me. That was a frustrated manager after a victory. And Eddie doesn't get frustrated. He's very calm. He was frustrated. I could tell in his interview. Luke said the same. He said Newcastle were great first half. He said they were terrible second half. And we can't... If it'd been reversed, I think it would have been different. I think fans would have been a bit more like, hey, because if we'd been terrible first half, come out and beat them second half, people would have went, look at that. Yeah. But it's
what a 4-3 victory. That's what they would have been saying.
Exactly, it would have happened. It was just... And I think I get... Look, some fans go over the top. Sometimes I do. But I get where fans don't.
We went 1-0 down on Twitter. I was just like, Jesus Christ.
The frustration, I mean, it was frustrating, like, watching that second half, because now you're thinking in the back of your mind, you're thinking, we can't do that against Liverpool, and we can't. Eddie knows. Eddie's not stupid. We do that against Liverpool. The final's gone. The cup's gone. We have got to be switched on for 90 minutes against Liverpool to beat them. And we can't have a second half like that.
But we will be, though, because let's face it, we ain't going to be 4-1 up at half time against Liverpool, are we? So there's no chance for us to go to sleep because they'll be thinking, Jesus, this is Liverpool.
Do you know what it is? I think Joe Linton not being in the team yesterday as well. I think that second half needed Joe Linton. And it needed somebody to get the game by the scruff of the neck. That's why he brought Tonali on. He admitted he didn't want to bring Tonali on, but he needed to get a hold of the midfield because it was getting overrun. And I don't think it would have been as bad if Joe Linton had been on the pitch.
Possibly.
Personally, anyway.
We can't have Pope and goal Wednesday. We can't.
He will be, though.
I think he will, I think he will.
What can it?
I had someone on Twitter try to tell me that Tonali was just picking up his wages and he was slow and he doesn't run about and he's rubbish.
I've seen something about that, about how crap he is and how underrated he is and all that, and I was just like...
I blocked him. I literally blocked the guy because he wouldn't let it go.
It's got to be a Mac.
Well, apparently he's not, but I blocked him in the end because I asked him to take me up the conversation because I was at work and someone else was arguing with him and I was getting all the notifications. I just went, look, just take me out of the conversation. I'm never going to agree with you. Tonali is world class. Yes, I agree, Miley's brilliant, but he's nowhere near to the level of a Tonali yet. Can you just take me out of the conversation? And he's went, oh, you're back in the room now. Why this, why that? I went, mate, you're blocked. I'm sick of you. I can't
Was
do
it yours? I seen it on them. Was it your
Probably.
video? I seen it on, right?
Yes,
okay.
in the Twitter group, in our WhatsApp group, a guy called Tim. I was like, I'm sorry, Tim, you're done for. I'm not putting up with this. But yeah, can you imagine someone trying to tell you that Tonali's not a good player?
Well,
What
the problem with some people is they sit and go game by game on a performance of a player. That's what they do.
Do you know what I think his argument was at the end? He's not scoring or assisting enough.
That's not his job. That's not his job. That's Gordon's job. That's Murphy's job. That's Isak's job. Now,
Don't get us wrong.
it's very rare.
Have an opinion, don't we? You know.
Yeah.
It's very rare you have a Frank Lampard, a Rob Lee, a Steven Gerrard who's bursting from midfield and scores 15 goals a season. It doesn't happen very often with midfielders. Kevin De Bruyne did it. Like, but you name like Maddison scored 9 goals this season or something. You name a central midfielder who goes out and get double figures. Like, it doesn't happen very often. Tonali's not world class.
Now with 4-3-3s and 4-2-3-1s and all this sort of stuff. It's a different game now, isn't it?
The Italian media are begging for him to come back early, but he's not world class.
Exactly. Yep. I can't believe it. Right. Up topic. Just before we go, someone mentioned this in the chat. I obviously had it ready. Obviously, we're big fans of Luke Edwards on this channel. We didn't used to be, as he knows, and he keeps reminding me, and I keep calling him a dickhead. But now I'm the dickhead. But we did a great show. I don't know if you haven't watched it, go back and watch it. He was absolutely fantastic. But he did break the stadium news about a couple of hours after we did. New stadium was one of the main topics discussed with the chairman at this meeting this afternoon. A move to a new stadium understood to have been presented as a preferred option and benefits explained. Final decision unlikely to be made today, but now the plans have been finally shown to the owners. It's in the final stages. Liam, your thoughts on the new stadium, or do we re-renovate St James's Park? Which one would you go for?
For a new stadium. Absolutely for a new stadium. I think obviously bigger is better. It lets more people have the likes of season tickets that can't get them. People that just want to go to games and just can't for capacity reasons. And I just think we can make it so much better. I'd stick a roof on and all.
Ooh, roof on. That's interesting. Nice to see an Arsenal one. Imagine the term misinformation and grouping all ex-users as idiots. Let me guess, you support Ukraine, hate Elon and hate Trump, you good little socialist you. I don't even know what to say to that, to be honest with you, Mr. Arsenal fan. Are you still expecting Isak to sign or something like that? It's probably Tim. This is probably Tim because I called him an idiot. And by the way, I didn't group all ex-users. I said one. There we go. Fun comment. Ches knows all too well that Tonali's number one fan, and I've been there since AC Milan. I've been pressured Ches into shine to him. Honestly, Tonali's just unbelievable. Not like Bastard drama and excellent. Sometimes he doesn't even instigate it. So true. So true. It's unbelievable. John, what's your thoughts on the new stadium or re-renovating St James's Park? Which one would you go for and why?
I would really love it if we could stay at St. James, but there are so many forces that are on us right now to build a new stadium. And when you have ownership that has the funds for it, it's kind of a no-brainer for the decision makers. For a guy who thinks with his heart all the time, I'm going to miss the place. And I've always loved watching games on TV from there. And now, these last few years in person. But it's just money's driving everything, not with Newcastle, with the league and with, international soccer, international football, depending on where you're from. And it's a foregone conclusion that we're going to need it. And it will be good for those people that can't get tickets. I really appreciate that. I hope they don't mess it up, though. And what I say by that is the first 10 games in that new stadium, there's got to be something that makes people feel like they're home. Whatever they do, implement some things that make you feel like you're at home. Make it Newcastle specific, not another big bowl that we can have concerts and NFL football and all that. Make it feel Newcastle. And then I'm all in. I'm all in then. but that's a hard thing to predict. And I haven't seen any of the plans. I don't know what features they're going to incorporate. People have talked about, build a wall like Dortmund, something like that, something that makes you feel like, yeah, this is it. And the other thing is which groups you allow to populate your stadium. You gotta have a segment of tickets for, maybe just match day walk up. You show your ID, you're from the Northeast or whatever. You show how many tattoos you got and you get in.
I love it. It is difficult because the whole idea of a new stadium is to make it multi-purposable, and that makes the match day revenue and other revenue streams much higher because we are well behind Tottenham, City, Man United, Liverpool. We need to catch up with all them lot. And that's why a new stadium for me is what we need to help push those PSR boundaries. But I mean, we're talking 5-7 years down the line anyway, potentially. Guys, your thoughts?
It's time to go. It's not just for PSR for me either. I don't know. I just think St James's Park needs a lot done to it. I think the atmosphere is dwindling. I don't think it's anywhere near what it used to be. As long as they do certain things with it, it has to be. I think John's right. It has to be a Newcastle stadium, but it can hold concerts, it can hold boxing events, it can hold wrestling. That doesn't bother me, but it has to have the Newcastle connection to it.
Stamp on it. Yeah, of course it does.
I think they will. I think they will stick to that, because I think they'll want the Newcastle around Saudi Arabia and around the world anyway, because they know the connection to PIF and everything like that. So I think they will keep that. But what they've got to do for me is they have got to get the atmosphere into that ground. That's the number one for me. So what you do is you build a stand in somehow. I think this is possible. That's a singing section. If you only go in there if you want to sing, you don't mind standing up, you don't mind getting agitated, you name it. If you don't want to be involved in that, you can sit over there because people aren't moving season tickets now. They're moving to a new ground. So, it's new seats, but they've got to put a singing section in a yellow wall like Dortmund. And I'm all for it. And I think they will. I think more people are moving on to the idea now because they're not moving from the city centre. They're just going to adjust it a bit. The only thing for me is how they're going to build this stadium and keep us playing at St James's. I've got no idea.
It can be done. They can do 3/4 of the ground before they even get near the Gallagher.
They're going to have to move the away fans. They're going to have to move the away fans somewhere. It's going to have to be done because I think that's where they're building it on.
It's going to be on the back of the Gallagher end.
Oh, the Gallagher, is it? Oh, right.
They said that there should be a way of sorting it out.
But it's time. We can't compete. We can't compete with the big teams. We've got to move. I'm with Liam. I'd build a roof. The Real Madrid have done it. And it was closed against Man City, I think. And I would go for a roof and all. Makes the atmosphere better. Makes the atmosphere better. And but like you said, it's going to take 6 years. By which, look, I love St James's. I've got so many memories there, but none of we've got a memory of lifting a trophy, or none of we've got a memory of this. We've just got goal memories, big games, and that's it. Let's build a new stadium. Let's create new memories at this new stadium. And I think that's been the plan all along. I think it's what they've always wanted to do. And spending 500 million, add a few extra seats into St James's Park, that's not something they do.
Oh no, I think you're actually right now. Thinking about it.
I'm right.
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
See, Baz, I'm very rarely wrong, mate.
I've got my dimensions wrong in my head. Where everything is. So it's on Lisa's.
Yeah, they're gonna have to move the away fans for a period of time. So
they don't need to move anyone. Trust me. Apparently, according to Luke, he's seen talked through the plans, and apparently it does not interrupt a season. 3/4 of the ground can be built, and then what they then do is when the season finishes, they knock down the leaders and then they build up the other side, and it'll all be ready for the start of the season, apparently. But again, we're talking down the line, aren't we? There's a couple of things they can easily do. Get in touch with War Flags, get them to be part of the singing section with all the flags, get everything, them talking, get the fan advisory boards involved in it.
Put the away fans in there. Put the away fans in there who get regular.
That's a tough one, isn't it? But yeah, let's see what happens. I mean, I'm all for a new stadium now, but only because I want our revenue streams to be higher. I want PSR to be gone. I want us to be able to compete in the top 4 constantly and see the best players playing for our club. It's the only reason why. I would prefer to stay at St James's Park because, like you said, it's been our home since the club was formed. So, but these things happen. And the final word is, everyone, we're 5th. We've won 13 out of 16. Let's be happy. Massive game on Wednesday night. We'll be back tomorrow night. Look ahead for the Liverpool game. And as it stands, I'm now available to do the watch-along because my overtime's been cancelled. So I'll be doing that on Wednesday. So see you till tomorrow. Take care.